Local music is important to small communities like the ones here in South Central Illinois. Sometimes hidden inside our many small towns are great artists waiting to burst onto the scene. In Hillsboro, a recording studio is born, and one local resident is working to help those artists any way he can. Today, let's go inside the Gold Pan Recording Studio and Record Store and find out how this small community recording studio is about to make something big in Hillsboro. Well, I'm pleased to be joined by Devin Moroney, who is the owner, operator, founder of the Gold Pan Recording Studio, also a record store here in Hillsboro. Devin, thank you so much for joining me today. Now, can you tell me a little bit about the recording studio that you've got that's going to be opening, you said in April?
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for doing this. So the record store is opening today, being March 2nd at 12:30, and the recording studio's got a little bit of construction left to do. Got to get the gear in there, some final acoustic tweaking, and then we'll be ready to open the recording studio. I don't have like an exact date for like a grand opening, sure. But that's, people will book their time pretty soon. So.
When did where did the idea come from for the recording studio? How did that inspiration come about?
Yeah, so I was living in Denver, Colorado for about 6 years. Towards the end of it, I was starting to feel a pull to come home. My wife and I adopted our son, and when we did that, we started to feel real motivated. We're both from Hillsboro, to kind of come back home and be around family and raise our son around family. So when we started to think that we might back home, I kind of wanted to get an idea that would really excite me. Something that I could really pursue. And a passion of mine has always been music, songwriting, and recording. And I started thinking about what it would be like to own a building downtown and kind of have a unique living and working situation where we would live above our studio, and I would be able to come down here and track either myself or other local bands.
Really convenient.
Yeah, exactly.
You said you've got a passion for this. What kind of background do you have, experience you have with producing and sound mixing?
So I started recording on a really rudimentary level in probably junior high school. On my, had a personal computer. Probably junior high is when my family got a personal computer, like in the living room or whatever. A big giant gateway.
Boxed computer.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then we had this little computer mic that you would like maybe do like video. I'm not sure what they would use it for at the time, but I actually figured out how to do multi-tracking, and
that's cool.
Put this little computer mic in front of a drum set, and then take another track and do guitar. And so started doing that in like junior high, and then in high school got a Pro Tools set up, and then and I studied at Greenville College, called Greenville University now, right. But and studied digital media with a focus on audio and video too, actually.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you kind of started during a time where technology was really in the middle of shifting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was like the kind of the start of digital audio recording, really.
That's really cool. Have you received a lot of early demand from artists wanting to come and record yet?
So I just launched a Kickstarter, and have got quite a few people interested in. I've got some tiers like cut a single or record a demo, EP or full length, and some people have donated for that service already. So I'm excited. Yeah.
You mentioned the Kickstarter. Obviously, you started that. You started a few days ago. When did you start it? And I understand you've actually reached your initial goal.
Sure. Yeah. I think today's Friday, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the Kickstarter launched on Tuesday at like 2:00, and by Wednesday night, I think I had reached my goal. So it was overwhelming support from the community. Super humbled and grateful for the support I've gotten so far.
What was the initial goal?
3,000.
3,000. Mm-hmm. But you're still looking. I mean, you're still wanting to pump Kickstarter because you said this was a modest goal that you were
Right.
setting.
So with Kickstarter platform, as some of you might know, it's an all or nothing. So you either hit your goal. If you don't hit your goal, you don't take any of the money, and everyone gets refunded. So I wanted to set a modest goal. One that I would taking a calculated risk that I would make that goal, but could certainly use a lot more support. Like I've said before, every penny that I earn from Kickstarter, whether maybe I quadruple my goal in an ideal world, every penny will be used on equipment to make this a better place that'll bring in better artists that I think will ultimately impact the community in a positive way.
Sure. Obviously, your main focus is the recording studio, but this is also a record store, as you said. It's opening up today, which is Friday, March 2nd. You want to speak to that a little bit about it'll share the same name, the Gold Pen Recording Studio and Record Store.
That's right. Some good friends of mine, when I was kind of constructing this place, the contractor for the building is a good friend of mine and also another local musician. He, Brian Lee, and Matt also have a passion for record collecting and record buying, and whenever it became apparent that I would have to have a wall here for to block street noise and to block instrument noise from reaching the street and being a nuisance to the community, we realized we'd have this kind of storefront that was either going to be like a lounge that nobody would use for the recording studio,
or a lobby that nobody would really take advantage
yeah,
of.
exactly. So we started thinking and talking about it, and those guys had also had a dream of opening a record store, so it kind of worked out really well. It's like what better partnership could we have in the same place than a record store and a recording studio?
Sure.
And we are operating them under the same name. They're kind of like two different entities, but we're calling it like a collective. And
it's like the same franchise or business or whatever you
yeah,
could say. Yeah, very, very cool. And obviously, there's not a lot of record stores in this immediate area, so you kind of have a monopoly, at least in the South Central Illinois.
Right. Yeah. These guys, I mean, they travel, so they assume that if they are interested and they're willing to travel, that other folks will be too. And they've got a little bit of proof by they set up shop in a local business called the Refinery. Yeah. And had some success.
I knew there were records being sold out of there. I wasn't sure if it was the same. If this was going to be the same thing.
Yeah, they kind of did it there, knowing that they would move into their own storefront eventually, but they just kind of wanted to test it, and it was a positive experience.
Nice. Yeah. We want to take a little tour of the actual recording studio?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, let's take a look. So this is a window that I was really intentional about. We're in the tracking room right now, and beyond the window you can see the record store. And when I was explaining to the carpenter, how I wanted the space to feel, I told him I really wanted this to feel connected to the community. So I wanted to be tracking guitar or drums and be able to look out and see people walking on the sidewalks, because the community aspect of this place was really important to me. So we came up with this idea to do this window where he had kind of salvaged some windows from different jobs, and although it looks like a custom built piece, there is actually window in the wall because this is a double built wall. So he just did an awesome job with this trim to make it look like a really nice custom piece. And like I said, we're standing here in the tracking room. Right now there's still a little bit of construction going on. As you can see, some of the equipment we've been just mudding, and we'll be painting the ceiling. So things are getting done. We'll still have to treat the walls and the ceiling with acoustic panels with special insulation and fabric. So that'll take a little bit of time. So this will be the control room where I'll have the desk with the preamps and the mixer here, looking out into the tracking room. That if you don't know, the tracking room is where the vocalist will sing, the drummer will drum, all that. Yeah.
And there you have it, the Gold Pan Recording Studio and Record Store on Main Street in downtown Hillsboro. The record store is now open with the recording studio aiming for an April opening. This is David Jenkins reminding you that you saw it here on the radio first.